woke up like this. Hey. Today's look is an easy everyday makeup look. It is bright, it is fresh, and it's super wide awake looking. It is really effortless, and it is for anybody that's on the go for school, for work, or just, running out the door pretty early and has not a lot of time to get ready. This is the look. The palette that I'm going to be using today is the Pearlescent palette from Sephora. This palette is actually made for brown eyes. It is a duo palette, so one side is for daytime and the other side is for nighttime. The first shadow that I'm going to be using is the shadow called Natural. It's just a skin tone based shadow. Any skin tone based shadow would be fine. The brushes that I'm using are actually from Sephora as well. I got them as a present, and it is a brush set of 5. These brushes are awesome to use, super easy to work with, super easy to clean. You're going to take the color Natural and you're just going to pack it on the lid and bring it up to your brow bone as a base for the look. The second shadow that I'm going to be using is called Peach Beige. I'm going to be using this as a highlight just to give a little bit of shimmer underneath the brow to highlight. I did already do my brows, my foundation, and I just contoured a little bit just to give my face a little bit of a glow, because I suffer from a disease called paleness, and a little bit of a glow looks healthy on me. The second brush that I'm going to be using is from the same Sephora kit. As I said, it is an airbrush crease brush. It's just a fluffy crease brush that is super easy to work with. It's really blendable, believe it or not. The first brush that I used was the airbrush shadow brush, and they are all from the same kit. The second color I'm going to be using is medium brown from this. It's a second shadow down from the daytime side of the palette. These shadows in this palette look very metallic in their pans. On the skin, it is really not that metallic, which works out in this case because it's an everyday makeup look, so you really don't want, your eyes to be super metallic all the time. So you're going to just be taking that medium brown, working it in your crease in a windshield wiper motion, back and forth, just to define your eyes a little bit. I am just checking to make sure everything looks okay. The faces that I make in this video are wild. I didn't even realize that I made these faces when I did my makeup. The third color I'm going to be taking is the Soft Gold. It's the last shadow on the daytime side of the palette, and I'm just going to be doing this in the crease as well. Like I said, the two metallic shadows really don't have a huge payoff, which works out in this case because we don't want a super metallic eye, but it's just enough of a hint of glitter that it works to open up those eyes and make them look really bright. The second palette that I'm going to be using is from Bobbi Brown. As you will see, it is called the Velvet Plum Eye Palette. And these are the colors. They're so warm and so gorgeous for the fall. There's 2 metallics and 3 matte colors in here. The first color I'm going to be taking is Wood Rose. It's that brown gray color. It's the second one in, and I am going to buff this in my crease, windshield wiper motion as usual, and I'm just going to be taking this to define my eyes just a little bit more. You can totally skip this step if you don't have the time. I actually like doing this a little bit better because it just defines those eyes and makes them look so much bigger and makes them look really lively, which is what we want. The next color I'm going to be taking is called Champagne Quartz. It is a metallic shadow as well, but I'm just going to be buffing this in because it is almost the same color as the Soft Gold that I used from the Sephora palette. Just to be softening up that brown. We don't want it to be too harsh, but just enough to define that eye shape. Like I said, windshield wiper motions. You already know the deal, girl. Again, with the faces, excuse them. I'm just making sure everything looks even. And the brush that I'm using, again, is the eye shadow brush, the airbrush shadow brush from the Sephora palette. I am going to be taking the color Velvet Plum, and I'm going to be putting this in my tear ducts just to widen my eyes up a little bit, make them look really big and really wide awake and super bright, which is exactly what we're going for. Now I'm going to be taking the matte shade Ivory. It's the lightest shade in the palette. I'm just going to be buffing this underneath my brow bone on top of the natural beige that I put there, just to really brighten up the eye, because the peach beige is shimmery as well. The glitter is there, but the pinky peachiness isn't, so it's a little bit iridescent. The Ivory actually sets it because it's matte, so it really just brightens up the look and makes it look so much better. I'm just fixing my shadow, making sure everything is even, that it is defined to my liking. Next, I'm going to be taking my Wet n Wild Cover All Concealer, and I'm going to be showing you. There it is. It's in the color Light. Believe it or not, this concealer I do like. The coverage is pretty sheer, but it doesn't crease on me, which is crazy because a lot of concealers do crease on me. So I am loving this right now. Just like I said, I wish the coverage was there. It is a little bit sheer. But the brush that I'm going to be using is the Airbrush Concealer brush from the Sephora set that I got, as usual. It's just a round flat brush on the top. And I'm just going to be buffing this into the skin. Nothing crazy. Just back and forth. La 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 la. I also set this with the powder just to be safe, because sometimes my skin can be oily when the weather changes. I'm going to show you the color that it is and the brand that it is. There it is. It's called the Stay Matte Rimmel Pressed Powder Foundation. It's in the color Transparent, and the number is 001. I'm just going to be using the same brush that I just used for my concealer, just to pat that into the skin and really set my foundation. This really brightens up the eyes as well. Putting a pressed powder underneath really awakens the skin. I'm just going to be putting a little bit on my chin, in the center of my forehead, and on my Cupid's bow, just to highlight those areas, because those are the areas that get the most natural light. Like, for example, if you're taking a picture, that's the places that would have the most light on them. The other palette I'm going to be using is from Tokidoki. I got 3 of them in a set. All 3 palettes have 4 eyeshadows and 1 blush. The blush that I'm going to be using is a rose color, and it has gold flecks of pretty amazing gold shimmery fairy dust, if you want to call it that. The blush itself is called Momo Bella. It is so gorgeous, and it reflects light like a gem. Perk up those apples of those cheeks and apply, homegirl. The brush that I'm using is the Airbrush Powder Brush. I'm going to show you the brush after I apply it, because I forgot to show you beforehand. There it is, Sephora. Hey, my favorite place. And it's just, like I said, an Airbrush powder brush. Next, I'm going to be taking my Mally mascara and volumizing mascara in the color Black, because I like my lashes like I like the color of my clothes. Black as night. This mascara I recently got. It is awesome. I'm not a fan of waterproof mascara because it does get on my lashes and it stays there for like 700 days, and taking it off is a pain in the butt. I was using the Maybelline Great Lash, but the wand on it wasn't giving me what I wanted. So I came across Mally, and I am obsessed. This mascara literally gives me so much life. It is crazy. Perking up those lashes, hey. Perking up those lashes, hey. I'm just using my Bobbi Brown palette for the mirror right now, because like I said, the mirror that I'm using, I am actually using it for artificial light, the one that I use on the regs, because I do not have studio lighting in my bedroom. I will work on the lighting, I promise. This mascara, I literally put one coat on, and my eyelashes are literally the longest they have ever been in my life. And I got it on my nose because God knows every time I put on mascara, it gets somewhere on my face that it doesn't need to be. The lip liner that I'm using is from Rimmel. I don't recall the set that it's from. It is just called Natural. I just applied this nude lip liner. I put on a nude lipstick and I brushed on some pink lip gloss. And you are all set.